This week on the Ocean Cruisers podcast, I'm having a chat with Emily and Cole from the adventure cruise who I met at the Annapolis boat show this year. Emily and Cole have just started their cruising life aboard their 2016 Leopard 44. So far they've cruised the Caribbean and the east coast of the United States and are now heading back down south for another season in the Bahamas. Enjoy the podcast. Thank you very much on the compliments of my fake boat. So you guys are still in the cold climates. That's miserable. I feel so sorry for you.
Oh, yeah, it's so cold. Every day we're stuck here. It's just getting colder and colder. Oh.
We started moving 3 weeks ago now, south from Annapolis.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, my grandmother passed away about right after we left Annapolis.
Oh,
so we had to
hear that.
Appreciate that, man. Yeah, so we had to find a marina to put the boat at. We got a rental car, drove to Florida for the funeral, and then came back to the boat, and now it's blowing like 30 knots off of Cape Hatteras from the north. So we're stuck here just waiting for a weather window, and it doesn't look like we're going to...
It's not like a good area to be in the winter around there, is it? I'm learning.
No, it's not.
It's very difficult getting south sometimes. We have the same issue, like getting in and out of the med outside of season is tough.
Yeah, so we everyone says that come November 1st, you need to be heading south, and we're
everyone's
learning,
gone.
Yeah, I think we're the only ones left here.
We're learning that they were right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
So you just got outside the comfort zone. That's terrible. It's not healthy being in those cold climates, and I think we should probably start a petition for the Annapolis boat show to move south.
Move south.
Like the weather.
I bet the city of Annapolis will love that.
Mate, the place literally flooded. Like we were driving back one night from a bar, and the road had just disappeared and it was water. I was like, "What? You made a marina where at high tide it floods? Like, what is going on here?" So they need to move that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. We got there whenever there was a tropical storm coming in about 3 weeks before the boat show. And literally we could have taken the dinghy into the parking lot of where all of the booths are in the boat show.
Crazy.
No way.
Yeah, so it was pretty crazy. There was like a couple cars that were underwater.
Yeah.
Like
it was wild to see.
Yeah.
So you two are both from Florida?
I'm originally from Tennessee, but we met in Florida.
Yeah.
Right. Tennessee and Florida. That both sounds really good. So how do you think the general country would feel towards picking that up and moving it to Florida, like the Annapolis boat show?
I mean, we would love that.
We would love that, but I don't, Florida has a lot of sailors, but that's all because they came from the north, I feel like. Like it's all
it's got motorboaters, hasn't it, really, Florida?
Yeah.
It's full of them.
It's got a lot of sailors, but I think they all came from up north, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
All the retired
guys. They were tired of the cold.
Yeah.
And there's a wicked meme page on Instagram, and it's just like motorboaters from Florida. And I love Florida. It's a great place. But then I look at the cruising grounds there, and I'm like, too many motorboaters in that state. That is a problem.
Yeah, it's so funny because that's actually the
that's your background.
That's the life that I knew before ever buying this boat. So I had never sailed before buying this boat. So it was I'm one of those guys.
Well, mate, you came to the light. I'm not going to hate on you for that. If you went away, we have to
exactly
to these people. That's wicked.
Exactly.
Well, so. Just explain what did you guys do before you decided to get this boat? Like, were you working like office jobs or construction stuff? What was it?
Yeah, so I actually moved to Sarasota in 2019 for a TV news anchor job, and Cole was already living in Sarasota. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So you were a TV news presenter?
Yes, I was a TV news anchor. So my career had taken me from Indiana, where I spent 4 years in 2 different markets there, to then the Tampa, Florida market, where Cole and I met. And it was actually, we met each other at a birthday party 1 month after I moved there, but it was a whole year later before we ever went on our first date. And the conversations and just the depth of everything we talked about was so deep from the start. And I had this passion in my heart that I wanted to travel our country. I'd actually, just weeks before, been sitting on the beach with a coworker saying, if other people can travel and make a living doing it, why can't I? But it was never about a sailboat because, like I said, I'm from Tennessee, so I didn't know jack squat about a sailboat. Like, Cole didn't have any sailing experience. I was like, yeah, I knew nothing about
Does
nothing.
Tennessee like even have lakes, or is it just like?
Yeah, we have lakes,
what does it look
you're
like?
not. Yeah, you're just landlocked. I mean, there's lakes
and
with,
rivers.
Lakes with
Lakes
like
and
green
rivers.
water.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was always obsessed with Florida and always wanted to live there. So when I took the job there, it was for me a dream job. I was working the morning shift. I was off by noon. I could go to the beach, do whatever I wanted, and then the pandemic happened, which is when we started dating, and I needed to get out. I wanted to do something different, and I initially told Cole, literally 1 month into dating, I was like, I want to quit my job, take time off from TV, and I want to buy an RV. Well, as you see, that went over like a lead balloon.
I know that's intense. Like you threw that in after a month. Like that's a lot.
I didn't even know this guy, and we're talking about traveling the country together. Like
Yeah, in
that's
the first
crazy
month.
looking back.
It was crazy.
Right, I've
but
got a question. Yeah, so you
Yeah.
started dating like at the start of COVID, like during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How I've not heard anything like this yet. So how did that work? Because like you weren't allowed to like go near people.
Well, remember
we're in Florida.
We're in Florida, so like.
Oh yes,
if-
you were saved. You were saved. You're in Florida.
If there was a place to be, like Florida was the place to be. In fact, we had
they
so
were on
many
vacation
people.
there.
Yeah, we had so many people from up north saying, "Screw this!" With all the lockdowns, like we're heading to Florida. Like I have a good friend that has her parents have a condo in right close to where we live, and she was in Boston. She's like, I'm done with Boston. Like I'm heading to Florida. So she came down there. Yeah. So honestly, like
We were boating every weekend.
yeah, we were on the boat. Like at the time, I had a 27-foot center console, and so we were boating every weekend. We were diving. We were fishing. Like we honestly, like our social lives didn't change all that much. Of course, it's still COVID, and you still want to be careful.
But remember that Wonder List we made? So almost immediately we made what we call...
We're going to go too deep into the COVID world of conspiracy theories and shit there.
No.
We made a Wonder List about all the places we want to go in Florida. And those were primarily like outside because we're outdoors people. So there were dive sites. There were...
you got to remember, she wasn't from Florida. Yeah. So when she moved there, and I'm born and raised there, I'm like, hey, have you ever been to this spring? Or have you ever been, diving for shark's teeth? They go shark's teeth diving for megalodon teeth.
What?
Like off Venice, Florida is like all known for like, you get these massive like shark's tooth, like from megalodons back, the extinct shark of the day.
Wait,
you can legit just go like snorkeling in
Florida
Florida and get megalodon. That is a megalodon.
Look at that.
Yeah.
That is a meg tooth. No. So that's actually like one of our first YouTube videos we did.
Yeah.
We went diving for shark teeth and we found this guy. Cole was so nice to give me the credit, but he actually found it.
Oh, what a gentleman, eh? Right, so how big would that shark have been that tooth came from?
So this was I'm not an expert in megalodons by any means, but they said that this shark tooth was from the back of the jaw, and that it would have had like as it went up, it would have to the front of the mouth, it would have had like 7-inch teeth. So like a 20-foot megalodon, like 30-foot, 40-foot, I don't know, something like that. But
not a shark I would want to meet in the water.
Yeah, no, not at all.
That's amazing.
So yeah, so the guy we went with, he goes out every day, like he does charters, right? And he finds
like every day looking for megalodon teeth.
Every day he finds them.
That's
he makes a living. Yeah,
finding
he makes a living.
Teeth.
Yep, he makes a living by selling them.
This is like this is amazing.
Yeah,
I'll.
He's a character too, so he's fun. I'll send you his contact. But yeah, he's literally a professional fossil hunter, and so that's what he does. So
That's insane. And we got from how did you date during COVID to talking about this guy. That is such a
yeah,
jump, isn't it?
yeah, that's a big jump. But
Yeah.
the reason why we say all that was because that was what we were doing during COVID, right? And so how did we get to cruising? Emily came home from the news station one day and she's like, I'm done with politics. I'm done with COVID. I'm done with the bullshit. Like, I'm done.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, what do you want to do? She goes, well, remember how we were talking about traveling full time? That's what I want to do. And I said, okay, well, have you ever thought about sailing? And she's like, no. And she's like, what do you know about sailing? I said, well, I don't, but if we buy a catamaran, it's got 2 diesel engines. How hard could it be, you know? So we literally put a plan to place, saved every penny for the next 2.5 years that we could, and, bought the boat. So here we are. Obviously it's 2023. We've been at it for a year now, exactly a year as of last week. And we've done 7,000 nautical miles. So
Wicked.
we've moved a lot.
That's a lot for a year, actually.
It is a lot.
It's a lot, yeah.
We've realized that. We're going to slow down next year.
Yeah.
I clocked up like 3.5, and that was that was literally from the end of July. And when I was talking to other cruisers, I was like, shit, I've sailed a ton.
Yeah.
Well, that's way more. That's good. That's
Because
very
we bought the boat in Texas. So we brought it from Texas across the Gulf, which was 1,000 miles. And then end up going down and around. We did all but 4 islands in the Bahamas. We went all the way down to the Raggeds, Crooked Islands. We were actually with Raph and Sasha down in the Crooked Islands.
Yeah.
Had a great time with them.
Nice.
And then we went all the way up to Nantucket and Cape Cod. So up the East Coast.
Yeah. So you've put in some miles there. That's really cool.
But then we left the boat in Annapolis only to drive to Fort Lauderdale and pick up a brand new Leopard for the Annapolis Boat Show. And we did that delivery. So we took that boat up there. And now we're doing our delivery back of our own boat, right? Back to Florida.
I will be glad not to see Cape Hatteras for a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. So what model is your boat, and then what is the boat that they got you to do the delivery on? Is it the same one, or is it like a different one?
So basically, so we have a 2016 Leopard 44.
Yeah.
And the boat that we delivered was the Leopard 42, which is at this point that they've our boat or our hull was actually the last Leopard 44 that was produced.
Okay.
There was 2 of them that were sister boats. They were the last 2 produced. We were one of them. And then they went to the 42 model. So yeah, I mean we're.
And talking about space, it feels bigger than ours, even though technically it's smaller with just how they've optimized the space. So, but layout wise, the same thing. Owner's version with the 3 cabin, three heads. So it was cool, but yeah.
Do you know what's like really cool with the way they're designing catamarans is like, I have a monohull, so I've got like a 55-foot monohull that's a spacious one. But like monohulls have really not tried to do anything new in terms of like interior perspective, or even cockpit space. Like it's very basic. Whereas like the catamarans, they're advancing super quick. Like every time they bring out a new model from the new 40-footer or whatever, it's like leaps and bounds. They're really making a lot of improvements with them.
Yeah, they are, and obviously so many people are building new ones. This past year at the Annapolis Boat Show, they had more catamarans than they've ever had on display.
Really?
They had over 50. So like. It's really interesting. It's really interesting to see how the industry is evolving, and how the multi-hull industry specifically is evolving. Because now you have a lot of people pushing performance, right? And like everyone wants to go performance catamarans, and
yeah, but it's so much money. Like I'd love to go performance catamaran, but
wouldn't we all?
Yeah, like really, like I'm not a catamaran person, but if it's got some dagger boards on it and it moves upwind, I'm like, I'm doing that. But I need to win the lottery first.
Yeah, no kidding.
Do you know what was like surprising? Like, here's the thing: the catamaran industry is basically going through what like Airbnb went through like 5 years ago, where all of a sudden it's just a new way to do vacation, and that's why the catamaran industry has gone crazy. It's not through people like you buying them; it's through charter companies buying them and the demand for it. But it's going to be great for like, you know, for it like in 10 years, you could probably like sell the boat you've got, save a bit more money and get like a 60 footer or something like that. Like they'll be coming
I
down in
hope
price
so,
loads.
That'd be nice.
I hope so. You know, it's yeah, you know, but then again, you got 60 foot of headache too. Like finding a place
More
to
boat,
haul.
more problems.
That's the truth.
Finding a place to haul out is already tough enough in many of the different markets. You know, so yeah, it would be nice. You know, bigger boats always nicer, but at the same time, it's always more headache too. So for the two of us right now, not having kids, it's this size boat I think has been just absolutely perfect for us. So we do have an owner's version, which makes it nice.
Yeah, so that's like 3 cabins with a separate like head in monohulls.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the whole.
It's just a very comfortable way to live with that setup. You know what I mean? You've got your living quarters, you've got your upstairs. Like, it's very nice.
Yeah,
exactly.
So, and we call our boat the unicorn boat because we looked at boats really hard before we made a purchase, and we lucked out on this. We actually were trying to buy a 450 Lagoon, kind of like, you know, Colin's boat.
Yeah.
And the sale fell through, and a month went by of me just scouring the market every single day. And I'm literally sitting in a conference call with, you know, like 10 other colleagues in a boardroom, and we didn't get to what I do either. By the way, we'll have to circle back around from that.
Seem like CIA to me, mate. If I was going to take a guess. I'm joking.
I was in construction management, so but building large scale, you know, $300 million properties, stuff like that.
Nice.
So it was large production or large commercial projects. And so I'm sitting in this this conference call, and a guy messaged me on Facebook. He's like, "Hey, I'm getting ready to sell my boat. You might be interested in it." And it had just gone through a huge refit of solar and lithium and all of that. So like, when I say we got the unicorn boat, man, we truly we lucked out. And
we literally thought it was too good to be true. We're like, there's no way. But the owners before had, they owned a tech company. So they put all of this solar in there thinking, oh, they're going to take their family on these vacations. And then they got pregnant with their second child and were like, yeah, boat life isn't really going to be our thing. So their sell was our reward, I suppose. And,
for sure.
You know, it's just worked out really well.
They're going to live in misery having that second child for the rest of their lives, and you can live out their dreams. I'm sure
we've talked to them all throughout, and it's been cool because now they follow our journey. So, you know, they're happy to see the boat go to someone that loves and cares about it and is going to live out their dream. So, yeah, it's been awesome.
That's really cool. So, right, Emily, just going back to you on the job. So you legit are just a sweet setup, eh? Like, you just moved to Florida, living the dream. You were the news lady, and then you just gave all that up to live on a boat. That's crazy.
Yeah, if you would have told me 5 years ago I would be doing what I'm doing now, I would have said you were absolutely crazy. Like, I never expected my life to take a turn like it has before meeting Cole. I was laser focused on my career. I've always been very, very career driven. And I was going to do 2 years in Sarasota. I was moving on to bigger, better places. I had planned to anchor in a top 10 market. That was the dream for me. But then when we met and started dating, I realized that those dreams that I thought were big dreams were small and paled in comparison to the dreams that we had together. So I don't foresee myself ever going back into the news business. I realized that I didn't have to have the news background to have a platform because, you know, it is 2023. Anyone can be a reporter. Anyone can create a platform or be a creator, an influencer, or whatever you want to call it, whatever you wish to pursue. And we just started having these dreams, and it just made sense to document it on YouTube coming from my background. There's no way we would do what we're doing and not document it. One, because I love the storytelling aspect of it, but just the legacy that we're leaving behind, that one day we'll get to show kids and grandkids and perhaps great grandkids of like how crazy they were when they were young to just, you know, leave it all behind and do it. But
you know, it's so funny.
Wild.
It's so funny because you'll relate to this in the sense that, you know, the outside world thinks it's so crazy, but us as cruisers, like,
it's so normal.
It's so normal. Like, and it's, when you think about it, like people have been doing this for hundreds and hundreds of years before, like coming over. I can't imagine coming across the Atlantic in the 1700s on a sailboat, like.
I think about that all the time when we're at sea.
They've all been crazy. Like,
yeah.
They were all like, you don't look back at sailors who like jumped on boats in the 1600s going somewhere as, they were brave. No, they were stupid. Like that was legit dangerous. Like,
right. So, but now, I mean, we haven't crossed any oceans yet, but our goal is to cross either in 2025 is what we're planning right now and we're 50-50 right now. I want to go Pacific. She wants to go Med. So we'll
flip a coin.
You brought this argument to the right person. You are going to the Med, and I'll explain why.
All right, I'm ready.
Keep on talking.
Yeah.
You're in my favor.
No, I think the thing is, it's for catamarans, it's amazing. It's such a great place to cruise. But like being from the news, being from America, and all that type of stuff, you'd love the Med because it's got like so much Americanism to it in the sense of like where your country came from a historical perspective and all that, the different cultures. You'd love it. It's a great place. You can anchor like at the side of like Poseidon's temple.
Oh,
it's crazy.
wow.
Yeah,
that would be incredible.
So I do want to go to the Med because of that reason. And I'm not saying I want to go Pacific and not go to the Med. I want to circumnavigate and come up through the Red Sea.
The whole thing is, once you go to the Pacific, there's really no turning back. So I want to do the Pacific as well, but I feel like going across the Atlantic, which is a big feat in and of itself as well, and then being able to come back and then go. We'll see. We might be playing rock, paper, scissors. Who knows?
Yeah, fair point.
So,
there's
some more.
Benefits
some more.
Both sides. But you've got so much to explore in the Caribbean still. Like, have you thought about how many years you could cruise those grounds for before you'd need to like leave and see new stuff?
You could do that for years.
You could do that for a decade.
Yeah.
I mean, you really could. And there, like we got to the Bahamas last year. Our goal was to go to Grenada. We got to the Bahamas and we're like, we're not leaving this place. Like, how magical is this? I mean, we both. I really enjoyed spearfishing. Emily was kind of like iffy about it, but now I can't get her out of the water. She's addicted. Like cool.
I love it.
She says this year she's going after a world record. So we'll see. We'll see if she can pull it off.
Yeah.
But she got really good at it. About the time we were leaving, in fact, we opted to buy insurance that would allow us to stay in the Bahamas longer, simply so that we could continue cruising through and spearfishing. But yeah, by the time we were leaving in July, she was getting good. She was beating me out on fish all the time.
Yeah, I can't wait for season 2. I'm so stoked.
So what, did you go from like, no, did you swim a lot? Like, did you free dive or something? Or you just became like a spearfishing champion out of nowhere?
I was just like a Tennessee country girl that rode horses
so you never
growing
swam?
up. I mean, I've swam, but like
she was a decent swimmer, not a strong. I wouldn't say she's a strong swimmer.
Yeah, like I could doggy paddle pretty good, but like I'm getting good. Like it's crazy. Like it took me 30 years to realize like I love something so much. Like coming from a place where you just grow up going to lakes. Like we didn't dive. Like there was nothing to dive down and see. There's a whole new world under there, and I just feel like a kid talking about it because I'm not a kid. I'm in adulthood and just learning this. It's just I think it's the coolest thing ever.
She is like taking on free diving and like she's like studying it and like getting all scientific about the mammalian dive reflex and all of that.
I think it's so cool.
Amazing.
I would love to get good enough.
You didn't even have to force her into this. That's incredible.
No, I love it. I would love to teach it.
My wife is like scared of going under the water and stuff. And I'm just like, literally like 70% of the planet, you have no clue what it looks like until you start snorkeling and scuba diving. Like, it's way nicer down there. So, like,
it's
crazy. So true. It's so true. Yeah. So yeah, we're excited to get back to the Bahamas. And January 1st is our plan to cross to the Bahamas. We're gonna do Christmas in Florida with our family. And then, we
can never get there.
Yeah, if we can ever get there. We've got to get there
Yeah,
first
maybe
before we
well.
can do that, right?
This might be how you end up coming to the Meds. You just end up stuck in the north, so miserable, and you're like, oh, it's just easier to go to Italy
Just keep
now.
pushing. Yeah, right? No
Could have
kidding.
happened. Could have happened.
Yeah.
So what do you guys do for work and stuff now then? Do you still do some work on the side or some construction stuff, or what are you doing for cash?
Yeah, so we've taken up the digital nomad life like hardcore. And what I mean by that is just finding gigs.
Not digital
finding
nomad
gigs
porn, I
here and
take it.
there. Like there's what's that?
Not digital nomad porn.
No. Yeah, no.
We were taking
No,
the digital nomad life hardcore. It's like, really?
Yeah, no, not that, no. No, so like we just did a trip right after the Annapolis boat show. We just did a trip to Mexico as a quick gig for videography. So we picked that up. I'm now doing a little bit of online sales for a company selling actually business consulting services.
Very cool.
So I do that a little bit, but really the main thing that we're focusing on is the Adventure Cruise as a YouTube channel, and obviously we're
Merch.
putting
Selling merch.
we've got all of our merch together. Just before jumping on this call, I was actually working on a new
Guide.
free guide that we're going to have available on our website, and actually by the time this podcast comes out, this will be motivation for me to finish it up today and get it live.
It's going out tomorrow.
Oh gosh.
No, it's not. It's okay. You're up all night working.
Yeah, seriously.
It's like,
So-
I looked at all your stuff, and you guys have like gone like very good from day one. It seems like the website is really good, and you've got
Appreciate
loads
it.
of stuff on offer. Yeah, it looks legit. It looks really good.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank
This
you.
girl has been working hard at it since day one. And yeah, the guide that I'm working on right now is 10 ways or 10 steps to chase your dreams.
Very
And
nice.
kind of, just
Practical, actionable steps that really, once you read it, you're like, oh, that's so simple, but most people don't even do it. One, for example, of just writing down your goals. How many people in living this lifestyle have you encountered who say, hey, I would really love to do that, or oh, you're so lucky you get to do that, but they never take the first step. Taking the first step is the key. So we feel like this will be really helpful to our viewers and really putting that plan into action. So nothing that's groundbreaking or scientific, but just something that once you read it, I feel like many people will be like, oh, this is super helpful in helping me realize what it is and to go for it.
yeah.
That's really
So-
cool. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So like, well, okay, give us one. So you just said one then with like writing your goals down and stuff like that. Like, what would be number 2 on the list? 10 being like the big secret at the end of the book that everyone needs to buy it to find out. But what about number 2 and 3? You can tell us.
So-
I'm sure.
Actually, writing on your goals is number 3 for me right now. In the way that I'm
Okay.
putting it out, the first one really is like identifying your dream. Right? People wake up Monday through Friday and they go through the monotonous day-to-day job. Most people are working for someone else, and you wake up 7 a.m. when the alarm clock goes off, and you can't wait to get off work at 5 p.m. or however the case may be. And obviously different cultures across the world view work differently, but as Americans, that's exactly what we were kind of taught. Like it was just society norms. And so I think a lot of people go through day-to-day life and never truly identify their dream.
Like what it is that makes them happy.
Fair.
They're doing what they're told to do, what we're conditioned to do ever since we're children. And ultimately that's the position that we were in. We were college educated. We were Dave Ramsey, you may not know of who he is, not being an American, but he is all about like debt-free financial advisor. He would have been
What's his name?
so proud of us. Dave Ramsey.
Dave Ramsey.
I said-
No.
Yeah,
Yep.
Dave Ramsey.
He would have been so proud of us.
He's a
because-
financial coach, and he talks about like living financially free and out of debt and stuff like that. And so like that
Yeah.
was
Yeah, that was really where we are. We had both of our cars paid off. We both had homes. We had great careers. Like we were on track to do something big. But at the end of the day, like, we were so empty and we got tired of doing what we were doing, and we were only living for the weekend. And I don't think that's how we were created to live. I think we were created to live every single day. And so we really had to look within ourselves and say, what is it that we want to do? What makes us happy? And not plan to do it 50 years from now, but do it right now. So I think the number one of really knowing what that dream is and defining that is really helpful for a lot of people.
And then going into it, number two,
Definitely.
Once you define your dream, it's like, well, why? Like,
what's your why?
Why do you want to live that lifestyle, or why do you want to do that? And Emily touched on it earlier, is so many people will say like, oh man, I wish I could go. And for us, just being in the world that we're in, like, so many people are saying, oh man, you live on a boat, that's so cool, I wish I could do that one day. Well, my question is why can't you today? Because at the end of the day, before we really started talking about this lifestyle, I was one of those people. Like, I never truly like thought that I would be doing what I'm doing now. In fact, I just watched it on YouTube, right? And dreamed like, oh, that's so cool. Look at, Riley and Elena, doing this week, whatever it was. Right. And so, when you really sit down and you start writing it out and figuring out like, what is your dream? And it could be to build a house or what, I don't know, like whatever your dream is, start a business. It doesn't matter what your dream is, right? But if you follow these 10 steps that we have identified, then it really kind of opens it up. And I'll tell you the biggest one is that it's never the right time. Never. I don't care what it is that you're getting ready to do, follow your dream. One, you don't have enough money. Two, you've got kids that are still in school, or the list goes on and on. It's never the right time.
Never the right time.
And so for us, we just think that you have to really look at the big picture and realize that, and then chase it.
Yeah, I mean, if we were waiting for the right time to have enough money to buy a catamaran, we would still be sitting on our couches watching YouTube, wishing. Like, it's never the right time. You do it. You take the leap of faith and you figure it out. And that's kind of the position that we're in right now. We've definitely looked at this like a startup business. As Cole always says, last year we were hemorrhaging. Yes. This year we're only bleeding. So hopefully by next year we'll be, really making some money and moving in the right direction. But we knew that. We knew that when we did this. It was a calculated risk. But, that's the life of a startup.
Yeah. So obviously YouTube's not paying the bill. YouTube's not paying the bills, and not even close. But as long as we can keep picking up these little gigs here and there, and our true goal and dream is to have a sustainable YouTube channel that will allow us to live this lifestyle that we're already living, for forever. So, or for as long as we want to, as long as we want to keep making videos, right, and pushing things. So, so that, I don't know if I answered all your questions or not, but I feel like that's... Well,
we need to get into the CIA stuff, mate, because I don't believe you work in construction. You sound way too smart for that. That's really good. That's a great thing to just write about as well.
He's the brains behind it all. We always like to tell people, if it wasn't for him, we would never get off the dock. But if it wasn't for me, no one would know about it. So he's big picture, 30,000 foot view. I'm like devil's in the details with everything. So it's just, it's funny. That's how we operate. And like, we know that. And if we play to that strength, then we'll always be good. But no, he's way smarter than he gives himself credit for.
It's just about, I think there's a lot that goes into it, isn't it? Whatever way you look at it, it's definitely more difficult to do this for like established people. Like, there's a lot of kids do it, people in their early 20s, and I'm like, go for it, because you will turn out to be like a wicked adult. Like, if you start doing this life when you're in your early, I mean, you're still stupid when you're in your early 20s. So no offense, but you probably are. But so to start doing something like this where you can travel and learn so much, that's going to be wicked. But it's definitely harder if, like, you work for a news network and you work for a construction company. You got to sell all your shit, like it's complicated.
It is. And when we told my parents that we were doing this, my dad literally said, like, have you lost your damn mind? Like, he's like, I'm going to call you a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
And we joke about it today because now he's our number one fan.
He's
right?
like the first person to call after a video goes live and is all about it, which, you know, that generation, they don't have that way of thinking that younger generations have. And even generations that are to come younger than us. I mean, there are going to be people going to school to become a YouTuber. Like, you're going to be learning those skills in school one day. I have no doubt about it. So
that would be a real problem for society.
Yeah.
I think. Like, we should definitely try to avoid that.
No more doctors, just YouTubers. Yeah, no kidding. But just changing that way of thinking. But now they support us and they see that vision. But at the beginning, it was hard convincing, but we saw the dream.
Have you ever thought of like doing the news from the boat? Like, there's a lot of people do like independent media online, and they make like a ton of money as well. Actually, like way more than sailing videos do, I'd imagine. Like, that would be wicked. Like, you have the newsroom literally on the back of the catamaran.
Okay, so what's really funny, during COVID, I had a green screen in my spare bedroom, and I anchored the news for 3 months at home. So I have no doubt at all that it can be done. Yeah, crazy, right? But honestly, I have no interest in ever talking about the things that are on the news again. It's depressing, and we don't watch the news anymore. It's so funny where I came from and where I am now. It's just not something that interests me. Obviously, I don't want to be stupid to what's happening in the world. We want to know what's going on. But as far as the day-to-day happenings, I don't need to know about every shooting, every car crash, because it weighs on you. I mean, I think sometimes people think that journalists are immune to these things and, oh, you know, put this face on and you're doing your job. But at the end of the day, like, we're people too, and we go home and we take these things home with us. And I don't miss that. I would rather focus on, like, how long I can stay underwater, or like what big fish am I going to spear today. That brings me so much joy at this point in my life. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, and just to speak on that, like, you know, conspiracy theories aside, the news outlets have an agenda, and she would.
Oh, they're all horseshit, mate.
Yeah, and she would.
I'm not saying your missus is. I'm sure she was an honest one.
Well, but to that point, she would send me like screenshots of what was on the teleprompter for her to read off, and she's like, "Can you believe that someone wrote this?"
Like it's so one-sided, and I think part of it is just I think part of it is just. But it shouldn't be.
What she was doing should not have been opinionated at all. Like, no one's opinion shouldn't have been in it. It was local news, right? It should have been, you know, hey, here's what's going on in our community today.
And I think part of that is ignorance, because it got to a point where later on in my career, they're hiring people right out of school who really don't know what the heck they're doing. And I'm like, hey guys, I just read this,
to be like news reporters.
Very one-sided. Yeah.
Or to be producers. The ones that like write the stories for the reporters
to write the news. That makes sense, actually. Yeah. How long have they been doing that?
A decade now. I mean, it's as long as you've been in the industry. Yeah. But yeah, I say all that simply just because, like, it's not a great industry to be in, and it was weighing on Emily.
Yeah. 365 days of nothing but COVID stories leading the newscast. I'm like, okay, guys, like, I know this pandemic is a big deal. It's bad. It's horrible. People are dying, but every single day for entire years should not be COVID, the very first story of the news. Like, it got to a point where enough was enough, and I was just tired of it, and honestly, I didn't want to be part of the problem anymore. So we set out to do something more fun, and now I am the gatekeeper of our YouTube channel, and if I don't like the story idea, we don't do it.
Do you know what I think would solve the problem, like, with the news in America, is they should focus more on, like, high-speed car chases, because that is the only part of American news where everybody can just get behind and be like, this is exciting. Like, it's a bit dangerous, but it's very entertaining. And if they just focus more on, like, high-speed car chases, nobody would argue anymore. They'd just be like, did you see that guy? Yeah, he got arrested. Good. We agree.
That's funny.
Maybe you should do that. Maybe that should be the news channel that you start from the boat. Just focus on high-speed car chases.
Yeah, right?
Jeez. Yeah, that would be something else.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
So what's the plan now then? You're just immediately trying to get. Do you want to go back to the Bahamas first and then go other places, or what are you thinking?
So we're actually going to Florida for the holidays, so that's immediate. As soon as we can get out of this tiny Chesapeake town, Florida, and then the holidays, and then January 1 is when we hope to cross back to the Bahamas, and then we'll spend a couple months in the Bahamas, do the islands that we haven't done yet.
We actually have our first flotilla coming up in March in the Bahamas. So
very nice.
All of our Patreons know about it right now, but we haven't announced it yet. So this is the first announcement of it. So March 2nd through the 9th. Yeah, man, we are so stoked about it. We're gonna do it in the Abacos, and it's in March, so it's gonna be a perfect time to do it. Yeah. And then as soon as we're done with that, we're heading to the DR. So
very cool.
Yeah, we're excited.
So we're excited to do that. We actually agreed to another video gig down there,
which is perfect because it makes us leave the Bahamas. Because if we didn't have a deadline of we have to leave the Bahamas, chances are like things would happen. We'd be like, we love this place, and then May is here and we're still in the Bahamas.
Yeah, just
exactly.
Stay there for sure.
So we're gonna push ourselves to get further south.
I was discussing with my wife. So we're doing this festival in the BVI's in a few weeks actually. Flying over soon.
I saw that, man. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it should be cool. And I've been looking at video. I've never been. I've been to the Caribbean many times. I've sailed there, but I've never been to the BVI's. And it just looks so stunning. And I was like, that combined with the Bahamas, I'm sure if you could just go in between those two places, you may never leave either of those two places. They're just perfect.
Yeah. We haven't made it down there, but like you're saying,
so excited.
We're really excited to get down there. So yeah, I don't know that we'll do the BVI's this year. We might just stop through. But we're going to do the DR and then push down to Grenada for hurricane season.
Oh,
and
cool.
Then, and then, I don't know. We'll see what happens from there. I think we'll start planning out whether we go Pacific or Atlantic once we get to Grenada. So, but yeah, you're right. Cool. There's still so much in the Caribbean that we could spend a decade in the Caribbean alone. So yeah, it's a lot. Yeah,
it's good, mate. But I mean, it's such a great position to be in, and it's good that you're open-minded about both things as well. It's nice that you're pretty chilled out about it. Because it's difficult decisions, isn't it? It's like, should we go there? It sounds like you're making a decision about a vacation, but it's going to determine the rest of your life for 10 years probably. So it's good that you're chilled.
It could, yeah, for sure. It's for sure. When's that festival you guys are doing?
9th of December. So 9th of December to the 16th. It's in the boats leave Nanny Cay.
Okay. Yeah.
I think you can say both. And it's I think it's 12 catamarans. Yeah, 12 not like yours, they're lagoons and FPs.
Okay. Yeah.
Bali actually.
Okay. Who's putting it on?
Me. And then I've got I've hired the boats from a company called Navigare.
Okay, yeah, Navigare, yeah.
So yeah, they good quality boats. They all seem really well maintained.
That's amazing. So and you got Colin coming to take one, right? You got I think
and Jamie also.
Jamie,
first
nice.
Mate. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so they're coming, and then his Colin's work colleague called Glenn, who's the captain.
Yeah, the captain, Captain Glenn. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So he's got a boat as well, so that's wicked. But he's a full-time cruiser. I did a podcast with him a while back when he's not sailing that massive boat, which is gorgeous. That is I would steal that. I would risk prison time to steal that boat. If somebody said you can do 10 years, but after 10 years you can have that boat, I'd be like, sweetheart, I'm leaving for a while. Bye. But when he's not cruising on that one, he's cruising on a 45-foot Jeanneau. He's a full-time motherboard.
Wow, I didn't realize that. Okay, that's cool.
It's super cool. Yeah,
that's awesome.
And then we've got a bunch of other people coming in as well. It should be good.
I just saw it during the Annapolis boat show. I think you were pushing it a little bit then, and I was like, holy cow, they've got a lineup here, man. That's impressive. So that's cool.
I think, I'm very appreciative of all the people who said they'd come, because I think when I first started asking people, they were like, the fuck is this guy talking about? But I've managed to convince enough people it's a good idea. So everyone's very excited. So it's nice.
That's
Amazing.
awesome, man. Had we known about it a little bit earlier and hadn't already made, seeing that we're not even moving our boat right now, I would have been interested in coming for sure. So,
that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Sasha and Raf are coming actually as well, because she said you met them there in the, I think the USVI now, I think.
They were down in Grenada and then started moving up. So,
right.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it should be good. Anyway, enough about me. I'm the reporter, and I'm asking the questions here, Emily. Trying to spin it around on me. It's not the way this goes. I saw that. Well, listen, thanks very much for sharing your story. You've both got great energy, so I think you do really, really well at all this stuff. I'm